You're watching Business Nigeria. 2 years after leaving Nigeria, Emirates Airlines flight returned to the country. The airline's aircraft landed at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos on Tuesday. Emirates stopped coming to Nigeria after its revenues of $85 million in August 2022 were blocked by the Nigerian government over lack of forex. Following several diplomatic meetings between the federal government and the United Arab Emirates government, the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, led a high-level Nigerian delegation to UAE to finalize negotiations ahead of the resumption of the airline's operations in Nigeria. To help better understand Emirates' return to Nigeria after 2 years of suspension, aviation analyst Mr. Wole Shadare joins me now to have this discussion. Thank you very much, Wole Shadare, for joining me at this time. It's quite epical and interesting that Emirates Airlines returned to Nigeria after 2 years. First of all, before we now start talking about the economic implications of all of this and trade implications, how did this news come to you?
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. This news didn't actually come as a surprise because as early as April, May this year, Emirates or United Arab Emirates had concluded that it was resolving the diplomatic issues it had with government. And we also recall that the president personally went to Dubai, to the UAE, to make peace, in quotes, with the UAE authorities because for 2 years, Emirates Airlines decided not to come to Nigeria, and because of the issues, one, you mentioned it earlier, the trust fund of $85 million that made them to leave. But beyond that trust fund, there were other issues that the two countries could not agree on, and they decided to say, okay, we're going to cut ties with Nigeria. And when the current president came in and he felt that the country needed more friends rather than have more enemies, decided to cut UAE. And we also remember that on 2 occasions, there was a false alarm by the Nigerian government that the UAE had decided to bury the hatchet, which eventually wasn't it until the Minister of Aviation gave the whole world a concrete agreement he had with the representative of the country that they will resume activities in Nigeria October 1st. And if you look at it, like the minister has said, that even the airline has said, the issue we had, the two countries had, hurt both nations, not only Nigeria, but it also hurt the UAE. And thank God that we are beginning to see relations normalize again after 2 years. And if you look at it, Nigerians have a lot of investment, and that was what motivated the president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to personally wade into the matter and saw that these issues were put to rest and allowed the minister to complete the job. It was a good one, and kudos must go to the government for trying to resolve the problem. Because if you look at Dubai is a melting point for a lot of Nigerians. Nigerians have investment there. So many Nigerians work there. So it was more of hurting us than hurting the UAE. So I think it was the right thing for the president to have done, for the government to have done to, restore relations again. And if you also look at it, the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Mr. Festus Keyamo, kudos must be given to him because what he did was to make sure that he went beyond the brief that the president gave him to renegotiate the bilateral air services agreement between Nigeria and the UAE, which is going to be more beneficial to our airline. So it was a case of using one stone to kill so many birds. And for the first time in so many years, we are seeing a change in policy direction where not only foreign airlines will come to Nigeria and make all the money, but open the ways for our airlines too to begin to take advantage of this bilateral air services agreement, which is a very good one. Now, Emirates and UAE Airlines can begin to partner with Nigeria Airlines, which we never saw before. And this is a good one. And it's going to be reciprocal. And again, the UAE has told Nigeria that they are not going to keep choice routes for only Emirates. Nigerian Airlines can decide to begin to fly into any of the airports they so desire, and which is a good one.
Yeah,
because we
that's
already
what
know that.
that's what they said about the code share, having having partnerships with other airlines in Nigeria. How was the implication for the relationship between the UAE and Nigeria?
Yes, on the bilateral air services agreement, the bilateral air services agreement is just an agreement that deals with reciprocity. What it means is that what you do to us is also what we're going to do to you. And if we look at it, the UAE airlines or most of the foreign airlines do not want to partner with any Nigerian airline. And because of the multiple destinations they give to so many of them, they felt it was not necessary to partner with any of the airlines. But the minister has gone, or the government has gone beyond that to say, give them a first refusal choice. If you want to do anything, let it be that the airlines will say, no, we don't have capacity or we don't have the wherewithal to do this venture. Throw it at them and it's going to be beneficial to them. We never had this in the past, or even if we had in the past, I think it was almost in something years or 30 years we have this kind of agreement where we have partnership, the foreign airlines partnering with our Nigerian airline. And if you look at the domestic airline business, is really, really in intensive care. So what the minister has done, or what the federal government has done, is to say, let us revive our airlines. Let us begin to make them be visible. Nigeria is a very big market. And it honestly, I weep when I see many of these airlines come to Nigeria and they make a kill on this road. This is a very profitable road. Because of our own issues, we have not been able to deal with our own issues. The airlines have not been able to deal with their own issues. So it is imbalanced. The bilateral air services agreement is not equal. Basically because our airlines do not have the resources to match this airline. But the minister has sat back and decided to say, okay, this is how we're going to do it. It's not going to be 20-40 ratio. If we're going to even get 30% of the market share, is a good one for the country, and is a good one for the airlines as well. So it's a good thing. So we just hope that the airlines will take advantage of what the government has done, key into some of these policies, and begin to reap the benefit. Is a very good one for the country.
All right. So, despite the fact that it's a very good one for the country, we need to talk about the issues that led them out of Nigeria in the first place. The issue of repatriation of trapped funds, the issue of logistics, and all of that. Do you think that these issues have been sorted out before they finally got back here?
I think this issue has been sorted out in the sense that for the representative of Emirates to come to Nigeria and for them to accept to begin to return to this route shows that those issues have been sorted out. Emirates, they've been given their money a long time ago, so there was no basis for them to begin to say, okay, we want to play the hard ball. So what they have done, because they also want to be in business. Yes, I agree that Emirates can survive even without the Nigerian route, but if you look at it, every business venture, every penny matters to their bottom line.
True.
So even if their Nigerian market is very small, it's going to add to the profit they are going to make. Even if it's going to be $10 profit, it's still something. So I believe that for 2 years, and if you look at it, when they left, other airlines filled the factory for them, and a lot of Nigerians didn't miss them. The only way they missed them is that they didn't have direct flight to Dubai, where their investments are. But other airlines decided to fill that gap. Airlines like Ethiopian Airlines, airlines like Qatar, airlines like Kenya Airways decided to fill that void. But because of the product they are bringing to the market, and a lot of Nigerians have come to identify with Emirates, and that is why it's not going to take them very long before they bounce back, before they begin to do what they know how to do best.
All right. So, what's the implication of all of this to the overall economy? Looking at the fact that they're going to employ people, they
Yeah,
are going to also pay taxes.
yeah,
Um, what do
yeah.
you think about this, and the how will you rate the minister for ensuring that this deal comes to fruition?
Honestly, I actually don't like keeping praises on government officials because most of the time when they do something nice, you find out that the next move might not be something that is highly complimentary or something that is good to the eyes. But like I said, I actually don't like rating them highly. But to be sincere, when the minister came in, he wobbled and fumbled.
Okay.
But as time went by, he sat back to really, really understand the industry. Before he was a lone ranger, he thought he could do it well. And when he came into the industry, he probably must have had a lot of stories that, oh, the people in the industry were corrupt, the people in the industry were bad. So he wanted to do a solo run. But he realized that he was making one mistake from one mistake to another. But I think he sat back. He got people around him to say, no, Mr. Keyamo, you have the potential. You are brilliant enough to turn this sector around. And since then,
All right.
the man has not looked back.
All right.
It has been from one achievement to the other, achievement to the other, because a lot of things have happened. He went to Boeing and he went to Airbus. These are the biggest aircraft lessors and biggest aircraft manufacturers in the world. But when he went, they made test of him and say he was a salesman, but they didn't understand what he went there to do. But we started seeing the benefit of what he went there to do. And just 3 weeks ago, the country signed the Cape Town Convention Practice Direction, which is a game changer in the industry, which is even a game changer for the airline operators because Nigeria was blacklisted because two airlines put Nigeria in a very bad light. I don't want to mention their names, but we all know them. But what the minister did is that Nigeria has signed the Cape Town Convention. What the Cape Town Convention stipulates is that I can get aircraft at favorable rates. But because two airlines defaulted, we couldn't get wet lease. So we couldn't get dry lease. Dry lease is far better than wet lease because wet lease is far, far expensive for airlines. And because we were blacklisted, instead of getting aircraft per block hour at or weekly at $300,000, they started charging Nigeria $600,000, double the price because they were not sure if the equipment would come back. They were not sure the state of their aircraft because of what two airlines had done in the past. So it became a problem, and that was why we're having shortage of aircraft in Nigeria at the moment because the airlines could not lease aircraft, and some of them that decided to lease aircraft were not even breaking even on the aircraft they leased. So the minister sat back and said, how are we going to increase capacity? How are we going to help the airlines? So they signed this thing, went a notch further by signing the Cape Town Convention practice direction. What it means is that if you lease aircraft from any of the lessors, so it shows that you do not even have any right to break that agreement to keep their aircraft. At the end of the agreement, you return the aircraft to them for them to repossess. And immediately that was done, Nigeria's rating rose from 30 to 70.5%, which is a good one. So we're beginning to see the gains of what the minister has been doing in the last few weeks. And just recently, Emirates came. I don't want to celebrate Emirates because I felt Emirates is just like any other airline. Why must we celebrate them? But beyond that, there are other things that are attached to the coming of Emirates, which will be beneficial not only to the Nigerian economy but to also the airline operators.
All right, Wole Shadare, thank you so much. Aviation analyst. I'm sure many people are in high moods and they're elated, and Emirates is back in Nigeria. And so this will have a positive impact on the aviation industry and, of course, on the Nigerian economy. Thank you so much, aviation experts, Wole Shadare, for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.